Siento que hace mucho que no piensas más en mí y sigo extrañándote, creo que voy a morir. Por las noches al dormir creo que te puedo ver a mi lado como siempre, como debe ser, pero acabó. Esto terminó, pero acabó. Esto terminó. La última vez que hablamos ya no te
right. Attention, everyone. Doo-doo! Hey, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, please start to get yourself food. And we are just about to begin with a slight delay as always, but well, it is what it is. Such is the way of life. Anyway, I welcome everyone to WarsawJS 141. Yes, you're beautiful, beautiful audience. You already know how to clap from the get-go. So usually I try to find a fun fact about every single meetup number, but 141 is for some reason very unremarkable number. It's a palindrome. It's 141 both ways, but that's super boring. And the most interesting out of all the facts that Google AI summary spit out of me is. That's not funny. Right, so 141 is not a country code, but 0141 is telephone area code for Glasgow in Scotland. Now you know. Oi. All right, off we go. So is anyone here for the first time? First time ever? Wow, beautiful. So now let's clap for all the people, for all the newcomers. And if you don't know what WarsawJS is from the name, if you couldn't guess, it's a community of JavaScript enthusiasts. We don't only talk about JavaScript, we talk about everything, literally everything. And of course, JavaScript is the main thing, but also we talk about things and we demonstrate other things. We have meetups, we have a conference that happens once in a while, once in a blue moon. We have workshops sometimes, there's blog. We do mentoring, photo sessions, WarsawJS Vibe Coding Jam. Do we still do it? Yes? Anyone knows that? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And obviously, the Discord community, to which there's a QR code right now. If you're interested, we just talk about fun things. You can find some job offers there. If you're looking for a job, might be a good place to start. Who knows, right? I can see some people scanning. We'll hang out. Yeah, perfect. Still scanning. Good. Join our Discord, and then once we gather enough participants, we'll sell it to a big advertising company and get a lot of money. And yeah, that was a joke for the record. Right, so our mission, as always, we want to support everyone regardless of, is there a code of, oh no, anyway. Let's talk about code of conduct here. Anyone knows about Berlin Code of Conduct? Okay, who doesn't know? Anyway, let's skip hands. Anyway, Berlin Code of Conduct means don't be a bad person. Summing up like this. And if you're a bad person, if you know a bad person, if you know a person who's misbehaving, you can complain to any of the organizers here and we'll get them banned and banished from WarsawJS forever. Maybe with some chance of redemption in the future. Anyway. Yes, this is me. I'm going to be your MC today. And no. Let's skip that. Skip the formalities. Let's clap for a team. Yes. Let's clap for Piotr and Alexander. And you can continue clapping for all the volunteers that we have here. Yeah. Hell yeah. Having up. Volunteers. Still clap. Keep going it. Yes. Okay. Now, thanks to all the volunteers, all the people behind the scenes. We couldn't have done it without you. But if you want to join our team, we need people who do things more than ever. I had to do those slides on the tram on my way here, like 20 minutes before we start. So it would be nice for someone to help. If you want to help us, scan a QR code and join us. It's a nice way to get to know some people, get to know some companies, get connected in the industry, you know, things like that. It's always a good thing to have. Anyway, if you didn't have the time to scan it, you just approach me or whatever else. Right, and also, if you want to be on stage in WarsawJS, please scan this QR code. And this way you can share all the knowledge that you've accumulated, or maybe if you don't know about something, doing a talk about something that you don't know is the best way to learn about something. That's how I usually do my talks. I pick a thing I don't know nothing about, and I have to sort of force to learn about it. Right, and now let's talk about our sponsors, dear sponsors. Thank you, first of all, thank you so much to Paramount for hosting us. It's a beautiful space. Again, we are pleased to be here, and Paramount is actually has some job positions open, and over there in the room, right there, there should be a TV with the QR code. I hope it's there. someone confirm for me? Yes, there's a thumbs up. So there's a QR code over there. If you scan it, you get a chance to look at the job offers and things that Paramount has to offer. Again, thank you so much to Paramount for hosting us here. And yes, thank you. Beautiful. Thanks again to XFang for supporting WarsawJS. And I might have someone from Dropbox to come up here to talk about Dropbox again. Be careful.
Hi, guys. Such a big pleasure to be here. I'm Karol. I'm a Poland side lead for Dropbox. I'm here with our Dropboxers here locally. Quick story about us. We've established our presence in Poland in 2022 in April, and now we've grown to 150 employees plus. If you are interested about our story, what we do, and also fun facts, and what are our values, what are the opportunities at Dropbox, we'll be here around for a while. Me, Jania, and Adam, the rest of the folks, so feel free to reach out to us. Also, what is important to mention, we'll have some gifts for the best questions, so stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Yep. Definitely do ask those questions because who loves gifts? I love gifts. Maybe I'll ask some questions myself. That's the kind of person I am, right? So, what? What are the gifts? That remains to be seen. It's a mystery box. If you like gambling, you're gonna love this box because it's a mystery. You're gonna love it, right? And let's talk about our partners as well. So quickly going over, we have Tech Race Technology Summit, KMag, and JetBrains. We have some JetBrains licenses to give away as well for good questions to be asked. And I'm going to invite Ilias from Webellion to talk about Webellion, naturally, which is a company. Come up. Come here.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Very glad to see you all tonight. My name is Ilias. I'm representing Webellion, and I'm here with Ola, who will take care of the pictures for this amazing event. And we are once again proud partner of WarsawJS. Yeah, very glad to meet you all.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, but okay. Okay, got it. To give you a bit of context, so Webellion is a French-Polish company created 13 years ago in Paris, and now we are operating from Warsaw and from Tashkent in Uzbekistan. We basically help companies turn their problem into long-lasting technological advantage, and we involve ourselves in a large-scale digital transformation project. What sets us apart from the rest is that, as you might know, the market is currently shifting. The question today is not how to build, but more why building and what to build, actually. So here you have a quick overview of our services. But that said, today I have an amazing senior front-end engineer position to offer you. So if you are interested, you can scan this QR code. And the second one just here is also to submit a spontaneous application if you want to join the team. So please feel free to do so. We'll be more than happy to count you with us. I'll wait 5 seconds. And here you have as well like a QR code to our website and to our LinkedIn if you want to get some more information. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Wishing you an amazing evening and see you next time.
Thank you so much. Okay, what a French company it is. I'm sorry. All right, so tonight, I would say our meetup is slightly different than usual because we have a big discussion panel ahead of us, and then 2 talks, one maybe a lightning talk, we'll see about that. Probably we'll have another lightning talk, we'll see. Right, so I would like to invite Cesare to introduce our panelists, and you'll take a deep breath in. Your voice will be broadcasted across the room. Beautiful. And I shall hand it over to you at this point, and let us begin.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Thanks. My name is Cezary Szczepański, and I'm head of newsroom and innovation at XYZ, the best Polish media outlet. Subscribe if you don't. And but I'm not the most important person here. The most important persons are our guests, which I would like to invite to the scene. And it will be Tomasz Chojecki, senior program manager from Allegro. Yep. Karol Harabasz, senior manager engineering and Poland site lead Dropbox, which you know. And Adam Zasada, senior product manager payments from Dropbox. Okay, so the title of our discussion is The End of Process. If we have any fan of The Doors, it will be Is It the End? But are we really witnessing the end of... Yeah, you need to change your seats. Are we really witnessing the beginning of the end of human advantage in technology, innovation, and research? For the last 4 years, we've been told that the change is coming and that the work that you are doing, we are doing in media will change. And it changed a lot. But I think there is a very big gap between the things that happened and they could happen in the future. Especially everybody now is talking about AI. 88% of companies are experimenting with that, but only 7% of them are really making big laps in terms of AI development. And the same is happening in IT. I found research by MITR. They've checked how the good developers that are very well known in their code bases, they are supposing that using AI will make them more than 20% faster. However, the reality is that it made them 19% slower. It is old research from 2025, so yeah, rather old. The technology changed. We have Fable or whatever it is called now. I don't know. Maybe it changed since we started this our conversation. However, the underlying problem is real. You've got a pressure from your companies that like to metric how much tokens are you using. You've got clients that want AI, but they don't really know what does it mean. And you are working on very, very hard, very high pressure conditions. What is happening in your departments? How Dropbox and Allegro are dealing with that, and what will be the future of your work and their work? I will ask our panelists. So, to start our discussion, I'm Andy. I would like to start with one simple choice for you. Can you respond only with yes or no? Has AI made your organization generally more productive yet? Adam.
Yes.
Yes.
You told us that you're gonna surprise us with the question. I can confirm that. If I'm forced, I would say yes.
Okay, great, because there is a hook in that. You need to tell us which metric makes you confident that you all say yes. I wasn't prepared if they say no.
Number of PRs.
Okay, how did it change?
Increased exponentially, I would say. Increased by a lot, yeah. To
can you
follow
use
up on
any
this,
metric, more or less?
where it's actually difficult to measure this, right? Because I'm not sure how long you want the answer to be, but like to be very short, cycle times, output, and value of the products that we are building is difficult to measure against AI directly. We can only measure it indirectly, and the amount of PRs actually has a negative side effect of the amount of reviews that are needed, which, if also mostly done by AI, introduces other issues down the road. But overall, theoretical productivity is higher, at least.
Okay.
I would have to add that, well, in general, the development productivity has always been a difficult aspect to measure, how to measure the development productivity and what is the appropriate metric to assess whether the dev experience is successful or not. And one of the good measurement is just like in surveying the developers, whether they feel successful or not, what is the cognitive overload, and whether AI even helps them to be successful and deliver the measurable outcomes. But still, at the end of the day, I agree with you, Adam. Yeah, still, the PR metrics and the PR throughput is a good metric to start with. then the outcomes, what we deliver, what we ship for the customers, and whether we deliver faster and we are solving the right problems. I can see that we are more often use more and more agents to scale what engineering delivers. But also the good metric is how the other functions are going beyond the engineering, how engineers are contributing to prototyping, how to start the work without waiting for the PRDs, for the designs. And I would say the metric of like indirect outcomes outside the engineering is something what I'm looking at and how I measure the successful usage of AI.
Okay, and I have a metric for Dropbox. You publish it, yeah. 78% is the number of employees believe AI tools make them more productive. So, okay, you're like the leaders of the implementation. And Tomasz, how about you?
Well, there are so many angles in this question. First of all, you know, my perspective is that what I do on daily basis, I'm building with the team the ecosystem of partners around Allegro. So my main job is to ensure that the developer experience is good enough for the partners. So my perspective is rather external, primarily. And what I see is that we are having kind of new generation of the partners who are unable to code, but they still build the solutions for themselves, right? Until recently, if you wanted to build solution around API of Allegro, public API of Allegro, you had to have the knowledge how to build the software, at least to some extent, right? Right now, we are having those, you know, they are ordinary people, non-tech people, who are suddenly got the tool in order to operate on API, Allegro API. And
but I suppose
you know, it's like kind of it's a new productivity itself, right? Because it was not possible beforehand, and we are seeing, you know, like exponential growth right now in terms of new. There is no name for that, but new developers who are unable to code, but still they do it within the tools that are available in the market.
I suppose they are building, but you need to debug them later.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you know, how about the usage of AI and, you know, more or less the number of errors that they are making with connection to your API?
Yeah, well, definitely there is, you know, one of the bottleneck is the security, right? Because, you know, until recently, that there is this term called bots. We know we know all what it means, but until recently, bots were seen as a negative entity, right? Right now, we are seeing like we having this discussion in Allegro. Like, is it that bots are negative still, or we are already thinking, okay, we need to open to bots to some extent because they are bringing the business to the company, right? So the security itself is really important subject in this term.
Czarek, if I may add, I really like, Tomek, what you mentioned about like non-developers becoming a developers to use the Allegro API. When I think about it, and the positive aspects of AI and the usage is how prototyping enables organizations to move faster, and especially how stakeholders such as PMs, designers, whatsoever, can prototype the solutions by themselves. They do not need to wait for the engineering to move forward and enable the engineering team to build the prototype. So like we can validate if the business problem is well set, then the primary focus of engineering is to focus on craft and exactly what you've mentioned, Tomek. Yeah, like how to address the security, how to address the scalability, what are the guardrails and the quality constraints in order to move forward from the prototype to the actual production-ready solution. And that's what I see the benefit and the outcome is, that everyone can prototype, everyone can validate the business problems. And then I truly believe the craft still remains, and the excellence of craft is a very important here in the engineering aspect in order to move forward and validate the solutions.
But what is the impact of these changes to IT industry? Because we have a lot of software developers here, and if just non-tech person could write code for them. So what is the meaning of software companies?
I mean, there is a theory that AI will actually increase the amount of software engineering jobs because the demand for
Jefton's paradox, I think.
Perhaps, but also like cost of producing software right now dropped by a lot, basically. If you have engineers that are able to leverage AI, and on average in this room, even if we assume we have above average community here, right? Most of us are still underusing AI in our daily practices. And the rationale here is you should probably be running a couple of agents in parallel, working on goals with loop engineering, scanning the whole repository to document it, to ask itself questions, to build on top of it, to review it with another agent, while you actually have to context switch between all of those agents at the same time. So this is where most engineers should start if they don't do it yet. And then they should kind of think of new ways to communicate with their colleagues. Then this is a topic in and of itself, but we are underusing AI tools, and the requests of the market for software is virtually endless. Any website could get more leads. Any website, any shop could get more clients. Allegro's API is underutilized. For sure, there's a lot of value to be gathered from it. And now even people, so what's unlocked is people with creativity without the technical tools can now build their MVPs right now. So that's where we are at. Probably not perfect MVPs, but as we go forward, we can see the AI getting better and better, right? So maybe in a year or two, those will be actual working products made by non-technical people.
And where do you think is the bottleneck? Because you said that the AI usage is undeveloped. So where you see the biggest points of impact? And because, as you said, technology is improving. Every month we have a new model that is better than her predecessor.
Yep.
Yeah, but where are we going, and where our guests, our visitors could implement more?
Well, in our team specifically, I lead payments for Dropbox. Our team from Poland is leading Dropbox payments globally. So if you pay for the app anywhere in the world, our team in Poland is managing it. I'm the PM. And we work with the US team. And some of the US engineers, they use more AI than most of our engineers, from what I've noticed so far. At least those that are assigned to our team. And I guess those are the best engineers that they're assigning to us in order to speed up some of the initiatives we're working on. And the issue is that some of the AI productivity can be, quote unquote, a little bit look better than it is in reality, because the bottleneck is actually not code generation, but review. We've seen a 300 file change PR submitted and approved. The question is, who read those 300 files?
AI.
AI, right? Yeah. But like,
Cloud.
if we had an engineer who joined us for a couple of days and closed 3 tasks, we also received 5 new tasks and an 8-pager explainer of what was done, which in a way didn't make the amount of work less, because just reviewing the work and the AI outputs. So the bottleneck is the review, actually, right now, not code generation itself. So making sure the code is changed in the direction that makes sense, while, yeah, I mean, we can go on the tangent, but yeah.
Yeah, but do you have in Dropbox and Allegro, do you have any, I would say, ideas how to deal with this code review?
Yeah, we are thinking about solutions. I'm going to give the mic to, but in my team specifically, we are looking at even new metrics like review ratios of how many reviews you are requesting versus how many you are reviewing, because review now is a lot longer compared to actual code generation, to see where you have, for example, free riders who just generate code and don't actually review anything.
Okay, so now juniors need to review.
Yeah, I think like we can look at this from the multiple angles. If you look purely at the PRs, and especially the ones like in purely AI generated, on the other hand, like they are also AI reviewed. Yeah, so that's sufficient for a certain solutions. But also, Cesare, what is really interesting from the bottleneck perspective is if we take even a step further, not even review is an issue, but no doubt we ship faster, we ship more. Like there are more outcomes, more experiments, more features waiting for the validation. And I'm not necessarily referring to Dropbox in general, but the question is: are the organizations capable to consume what other teams are delivering, or what the engineering delivers? There is the question if the sales and all of the stakeholders within the whole big large organizations are capable to understand what is being shipped. Does it have what a good quality look like? Or are we going into the direction where we are building the Frankenstein when no one has a clarity what a good design, what a good solution for or look like? Because everyone delivers and the organization is unable to consume what actually is being shipped.
And nobody understands the code that AI provides.
Yep.
Possibly.
To some extent, I think, the bigger the company is or the bigger the system is, the more likely the Frankenstein will appear, regardless of the AI or not, right? So let's just put that really on the table, that big systems have this kind of feature to be Frankenstein even before AI has appeared, right? Yeah, just my comment on that.
Okay, do you believe that if tomorrow, for some reason, the AI will stop working, I don't know, would you think that your productivity of your teams would decrease now?
I think, basically, I think what I see from from discussions with my friends and coworkers, I think we are in the point where access to the AI tools is not even. I mean, it's depending on the company. For instance, you guys from Dropbox, from what I hear, are having really kind of broad access to the tools. And obviously, we are in Allegro as well, in the tech, we are having a lot of tools on our disposal. However, it's not the case for many companies yet, right? So we are not even in the point where we are thinking about whether the sales or guys from marketing or others are able to digest what technology will bring, because they do not understand the problem even, right?
And how about this review request in Allegro? You've mentioned earlier that it is some kind of bottleneck. How are you dealing with that?
Well, I think I'm thinking how to rephrase the Polish saying, but never mind. I think we are really conservative in that front. So we are not. Obviously, we are making a lot of in the context of engineering there. However, I would say we are not fully there in terms of speed. Yeah, that's my comment here.
Okay, Karol, you've mentioned earlier that the AI usage in software developers and IT companies needs to somehow change, I think, the logic in the business segment between developers, between sales, to marketing, and any other department of companies. Do you see any possible scenario? What could be the perfect solution for that? That the departments that are not technical would understand what you are doing, and you could provide better products for them.
Yeah, gotcha. I would say one of the best, even for me, the best usages of AI is just again the information digestion. And I think the other teams within the organization should be more mindful what AI offers. And I mean like in all of the organization, the years or months or information is flying around the virtual walls. Yeah, again, there were hundreds of thousands of experiments executed in the past, more executed in the future, feedback from customers, feedback from stakeholders, and this is the best use of AI to distill the information and provide the meaningful input to sales, marketing, the other departments to help them understand what is happening within the organization. This is the one piece, but also with the fluidity of the roles and like an uncertainty what my role actually is. I see a shift that, okay, today the like barriers and constraints between the engineering, design, and PMs are getting more and more fluid. But maybe a year from now, it even goes further to sales, marketing. And it's like every team and every person may be more autonomous to drive outcomes outside their core duties. That's how I see it.
I think it's happening, right? So if you look at, for instance, products guys, they are becoming designers, right? So there's overlapping on these responsibilities is already happening due to the fact that tools are available. Yeah.
And do you believe that in your companies, but maybe more in the broader market, are a lot of processes that now could be deleted? Because as you said, one of the usages of AI is just making information more, say, more broader, better. But on the other hand, when we have meetings where everybody has AI assistant for notes, and then there are scratching mails that nobody reads, or just putting them to AI tools and just summarize it, it doesn't make sense. And do you believe? Because from my perspective and from perspective the companies that I'm talking about, it's a huge problem. Not maybe specifically in the IT department, but however in organizations. And maybe we need to rethink the whole processes in companies and get rid of this stuff.
I think, and it's very relevant for Dropbox. We are lucky that our company is actually not going to be directly replaced by AI, by AI copycat kind of version, because we actually have physical storage that cannot be replaced. It's great, but although knock on wood, who knows?
Quantum computing.
Right. But I think a lot of productivity tools are the data human interface. And they try to make data easier to digest for humans across organization. We have an internal tool called Company OS at Dropbox where you have AI summaries of different Jira tasks, etc. And it is very useful for non-technical people. But as a power user of Codex and Cursor Agent, I think I can get more value with a very targeted prompt at describe what this particular work stream does, who's working on what in the context of those specific documents. And I get an answer that it would take me an hour to figure it out on my own. Plus, in that case, maybe I wouldn't do it at all. And when writing an update to the leadership team, which is every week considering our type of work, I will have to check against 2 work streams and everything else that I said in the past, not to say anything contradictory, for example, which I was actually doing manually up until around December when I figured out to automate this process. So the process could be removed, assuming everybody learns how to correctly and efficiently use AI tools, especially coding agents, not necessarily for coding.
Do you believe there is an understanding of this question in the, I would say, whole IT market? Because, I'm hearing things that a lot of companies are checking how much tokens coders are using. I know some of them are just canceling that programs, but they are real. And do you believe that there needs to be some kind of switch in the minds of upper management to provide or promote some kind of good actions that could possibly improve productivity and the points that you're saying, Adam?
So I think it's a tricky problem because most of the leadership team doesn't also use it the same way like most of the product or engineering team doesn't utilize it fully, except some outliers that you see in most companies where there is access to it. We have plenty of those at Dropbox, but I would say the majority is underusing still. Even at our company, which is more on the let's get things done kind of side of, not the most, we're not a startup anymore, we're a public company, but it's very relaxed in terms of what can be AI supported. And considering that the leadership team is only getting familiar with tools like Codex, it is difficult for them to enforce. There is a big opportunity for people who are actually power users, and I'm sure that leadership team already is aware at every company pretty much to promote and talk to such people who are actually, even if you're wasting tokens at this point, assuming you do anything productive, because at Meta,
Just make loops.
Yeah, some people at Meta were doing that apparently for some competition, like solving pi and stuff like that. Well, probably not the best use of money. Yeah, but except for this edge case, it's probably better to just try and generate even documentation for yourself to better understand what's happening, assuming you're able to connect to the correct MCP tools, or even manually create your context in folders that your agent has access to, specifically Codex, Cloud Code. I would use those coding agent tools, not just the chat interface. If you're able to leverage that successfully, you should not worry about your career at all, because like they say, AI is going to replace you if you're in a software engineering. AI is going to enhance you. And AI is going to replace people who are not using AI. Unless they're amazing, then they'll still be needed.
But they would use AI.
Yeah, I mean, in edge cases, you can be so good that you can still not use AI right now, I feel like. But if you're just getting started, why not leverage it and progress your career much faster? I would say, especially if you're a PM, because PMs are underusing it even more because there is not so much pressure on us.
Karol, do you believe that middle management is still necessary today?
Oh, thank you.
Think thoroughly about their answer.
I know it's tricky, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, in like AI era, yeah, like this is
Yeah,
the question, yeah. I believe so. Of course, there are some aspects of leadership that are replaceable. Yeah, like if we think about well, leadership and management, if we think about all of the aspects of planning and execution, there are like AI could at some level like approximate the managerial duties. What I strongly believe and hope that there are also the other aspects of like no matter what principles or like a leadership practices you implement, there are the aspects which cannot be like easily replaced. If we think about it like leadership, like more broadly about the human aspects, when the leader is not only using a theoretical knowledge, but with his all presence as a person, leads the team, helps the team members grow, empower them, solve all of the issues they experience, and at the end of the day, ensure that at the very deepest human level, they feel empowered and thrive. I doubt if AI is in this position where they could replace the aspects of empowering the leadership, like in the being servants and enabling others, no matter what framework the managers use.
Yeah, definitely I can confirm that. I think need for good leadership is even higher because we are having, we said before, we are in uncertain times to some extent. So during uncertain times, you need to have good leaders who can lead the people, right? You know, like there is this assumption that why the discussion about the mid management is already there. So there is this assumption that AI will replace those roles, which is for me, not true, because you need really great leaders in order to move forward, in order to develop, right? So contrary, I would say that the need for the leadership is even higher. Yeah.
Do you see, I would say, change in mentality of the managers? I'm not talking about your companies, but on the broader market, that their role needs to be changed, that they not necessarily need to review code or plan tasks for developers, because AI tools could do that, I think, better than themselves now if they've got good metrics.
I can chime in here if you don't mind, Tomek. Yeah, more and more organizations flattens the org. Yeah, so that's the one trend I see. Because like with the AI use, no doubt the leaders and the managers are capable to like leverage some of the duties to AI, and thanks to that, usually the managers have a more direct reports and like more team members, so the organization flattens, and this is definitely one trend I observe.
Yeah, I think role of manager in such time is to find leverage and find opportunities how to help the people, right? So for me, at least for me personally, I'm looking for how I can use AI in order to get rid of all the generic tasks that my people are doing right now. And I think that's the approach we should take.
Okay, let's switch to the discussion about what would come next in your sector, because I was wondering, the AI makes everything faster. You can ship products faster. You can review. Okay, this question is hard but in general you can review it faster. You can get more information, faster information, and so on. However, maybe in the future we should work slower, because there could be a gap between the needs of the client's needs, yes, and the needs of providing good products at the highest possible level. They could have fast product which they can write themselves, as you said, because the vibe coding is there. But maybe for developers, high-level developers, the best future is slowing down, spending more time to think about the tasks, to think about products, about architecture. Do you believe it is true?
I think it's depending on the scale. So obviously in big enterprises, that's true. I mean, let me give you a story. So since I think 18 months, I'm making some frequent tests of how out of the shelf AI tools manage with our public API. We are having REST-based API standard one with JSON there. And I started making those tests like 18 months ago. For the first time, I had to use my knowledge how to do that, since I'm in integration stuff from many years already. I did last test, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the Claude, so the Claude from the shelf, generic large language model, were able to make the integration with the production environment within 3 prompts and $2 or so, which was completely, we couldn't imagine that before, right? So we are in this situation where you can make the integration with the rather huge public API, having 3 prompts and $2 in the tokens.
Okay, and how about the trust in the code that it's providing? Because just simple pointing, make no mistakes, code make no mistakes, doesn't mean that it's not making mistakes. Yeah, Karol.
Thank you. Still, I'm gonna reiterate like my belief into the craft and the importance of the craft excellence. I truly believe that first of all, the great engineering, great designers, great PMs are a scarce resource. And at the end of the day, humans are responsible for validating what is the outcome of AI. And that's where the great craft comes in. Yeah, even think about like LLMs and the multiple examples. Yeah, like often the outcome is we receive is not true, but some probability. Yeah, from the LLMs. Like one of the healthcare models is based only on the data of the 3 states on US. So there is always some ambiguity, like the models what are being trained are still at some limited set of data on the public information. So answering your question, Czarek, about trust, like we are responsible to validate what we produce, and this is the primary responsibility of like a great engineering craft to ensure what was delivered is actually quote good enough.
I think the default answer of an AI, which also has a bias, is very verbose and sometimes wrong, which is very dangerous because it sounds like it's right, because there are so many arguments, but actually it just misses the point and talks about something irrelevant. So if I were to create all the tasks for my engineers using AI without a review, the output would be that they would have to deliver 15 things instead of one that was actually intended. So and this also goes on all levels, like including AI feedback for documents, not only code. I feel like I've already had to interpret other people's AI outputs to think what did they intend to actually convey, because they probably didn't want me to actually add those 15 points that are listed there, which is fair, and I'm totally okay with this kind of communication most of the time. But some people do react very aggressively towards tasks that they believe are not to the quality that they expect, because you cannot possibly expect some of the, well, you could, but like the problem is that if you just let it run, it might over-optimize not the right thing.
So you need to improve emotions in IT.
AI for emotions, yeah.
I've heard that it will be forbidden, at least in China. They're working about some regulations towards AI which cannot address the emotions itself. So we cannot humanize the AI too much.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe following up what you, Adam, said, because you mentioned before about the OS you're having in a company.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with having? I mean, it's a kind of a second brain type of feature, if I understood correctly. So how do you deal with that? So how do you kind of recognize whether it's a hallucination or not?
Because it's LT facing, LT is leadership team at Dropbox. Every output is reviewed by a human twice.
Human in the loop.
And
classic
double.
And we have AI help with that. But I actually use my own AI to generate the output. So everything should be correct.
So you build your own OS next to the company one.
No, I just use coding agents.
Okay.
And I just use, for example, Atlassian MCP, very useful for me. Dropbox has MCP too. With Dropbox, you need some guardrails because you don't want everything to be inputted into the AI as well. So there is a level of skill required to use it, which I would assume it's not that most people don't have the skill, but most people don't have the awareness of potential negative consequences, just inputting all of the inputs or changing documents to make no mistakes, but actually, just doing something that wasn't intended.
Okay, we have some time for questions from you. Do you have any kind? Just raise your hand. We will provide phone. Okay, High tech.
Hi. So Thomas is right.
Yep.
You need to rise.
This is the micro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is high tech.
That's new for me. We don't have this in Mexico, so yeah. Okay. So Thomas is right, or yeah, Thomas is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple
correct.
tip: you can throw it.
Oh, yeah, nice. You said one aspect of using AI, it's the vulnerabilities that can increase. I mean, in the code. On one hand, AI might introduce some bugs, but on the other hand, we have AI tools to find and patch them. What is your take on this? This will increase the bugs on the code, or we will decrease? I mean, at the end.
Let me think. So, obviously, it will increase some kind of level of errors we are seeing on our end, and obviously there are difference between skilled companies who are building an integration based on our API and those vibe coders, even though I don't like the name. But I think that's the cost of the development itself. So we are rather okay with that until it not hurts other players on the market.
Okay, we have gentlemen. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You can really throw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, good evening. I have one question from my side. My name is Alexei, nice to meet you. I see there is a shift right now in the big companies from the software engineers to product engineers, because there is no more software is not a bottleneck anymore. And I can see this shifting from two sides. First one, as a software engineers upskill himself in product management side, he understands the business needs and he can deliver feature from end to end. And I can see there is also this shift from just product managers who gonna learn how to wipe code and who can also be product engineer who can deliver everything by himself. What do you think about this shift? Is there any problems maybe happen with this, or is there gonna be different way how software engineer would be like move to another level of abstraction or responsibility? Thank you.
Thank you, Alexei. I think like the narrow specializations are getting more and more obsolete comparing what we observed 5 or 10 years ago. This is kind of a natural shift. And as long as engineers become like more switching towards the product development and vice versa, product becomes more and more interested about the software engineering. But then at the end of the day, they do not throw spaghetti over the wall and see what sticks or what doesn't, but then try to solve the actual problems and go hand in hand to deliver what matters for customers. I wouldn't see any issues with that, yeah, because finally the product and the engineering has to work together to ship the best and actual solution for the customers. And I'm not saying that this, like, again, the software engineering is not important, but then the experimentation at the very early phase when we know what the problem is and where everyone has the capabilities to experiment and then work together on actual solutioning is pretty exciting. We work in a very healthy environment being driven by the intrinsic motivators. So actually, honestly, I do not see any issues here. It sounds like a pretty exciting movement. Curious about you guys.
Can I add something? Do you think it's dangerous to give a CEO Codex or Cloud?
Well, actually, Drew has the access. So I mean, like the former CEO, so not issues at all.
Okay, so next question.
Hi. So the general agreement is that developers should fully embrace AI or become obsolete. unless there will be some market for artisanal handcrafted code in the future. But even if we fully embrace it, how to keep our sanity if what is expected for us is to become, and that's a quote, a condom between cloud code and production?
I would start by not internalizing that quote. It's a good first step. I would also very carefully curate the inputs to my brain to avoid internalizing such thoughts in general, regardless of AI, and use my best judgment to enable myself to understand the context of my life and work better, and to accelerate the intention behind my actions through automation.
Okay, next question.
I have a question for Tomasz. If you had an opportunity to tell something to all of the non-developers that are developing the integrations for Allegro right now, what advice or suggestion would you give them?
I think that's a very good question, to be honest.
Make no mistakes.
Yeah. I think one advice you said, right? Countless advices. Okay, let me
maybe
down
two because of our time.
So I would say, first of all, understand your customer and understand what you really want to do, because obviously the code is not a moat anymore. So the moat still is the kind of business context of what you're gonna do with that. And yeah, that's a general, I think, how you should drive it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any question? Yeah, gentleman at the front. If you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. From the back. Yeah. So questions.
Karol, you said to us that you convinced that quality craftsmanship is still mandatory twice, and at the same time you told us that the company, the number of features, the number of product is so overwhelming that the companies are not able to consume them. And my question is, how do you demonstrate or how you show to the clients really what is the difference about this quality that I really understand, and the lack of this quality? Because for the client right now, very often, because of everything is so simple because the AI tools, because very often he see only the external things, let's say external feature. How do you do?
How do I ensure the quality outcomes for the customer?
No, how do you demonstrate it? Let's imagine that you want to sell it to the client, and you have other companies that propose maybe let's say the product is less functional, have not the same quality, and it's cheaper because now the development is cheaper, but they don't have the craftsmanship. Let's say, how do you demonstrate your craftsmanship in front of a client?
Well, I think first and foremost, what we need to demonstrate to the customers is not necessarily the craftsmanship, but the value, stability of the systems we provide and the resiliency. Like, the craftsmanship is just an input to ensure that the high quality of the product is delivered. And how to ensure this? We at the Dropbox, we work a lot to gather the customer input and and data and feedback from customers, dozens of hundreds of customers meetings and feedback sessions, what they like, what they love, and what they dislike about Dropbox and our product. There are dedicated teams who distill those information and provide it to engineering to ensure that what we deliver is actually what customers need. So this is the one aspect. Also, moving forward, again, I truly believe the guardrails and the importance of the quality assurance matters, not only from the engineering standpoint. If we do experiments, then of course we can rely on AI when analyzing the data or the A/B testing results, what resonates with customers or not. But still, again, the data scientists and the craft of the excellent data science has a final decision to confirm the data we are looking at is valid, the assumptions, our hypotheses are confirmed. Like it's balance of both, yeah, what AI produces, but also what the experts within the organization validate the outcomes. Did I answer your question?
Okay, so 2 last questions. Yeah.
So I think a lot of questions were circling around this point, but I'll be concrete. So since coding is solved, but I assume your engineering teams more or less stayed the same size. What happened with this increased productivity? Like what kind of, I would love exact examples. Like what did you build that you wouldn't build before? Maybe some experiments and so on. I'll give you an example on my end. We, for example, vibe coded a alternative to one of the dev tools that we use for visual regression that, saves us like 1,000 or 2,000 per month. And we just, vibe coded it and we deployed it in secure way. And I assume you guys have some similar examples, so I'd love to hear those.
I would do GTA 6.
Yeah, of course, the coverage and the code quality is the obvious, yeah. But one of my favorite examples, what we implemented in our team at Dropbox is we do a lot of experiments and a lot of A/B testings for the customers. And most recently, we used AI to distill the past experiments, dozens and hundreds of them, the results, the outcomes, what went well and what did not. And instead of starting the sum of new experiments on some surfaces from the ground zero, we've revalidated what we've delivered within the past few months and years. And then instead of building something new, the team has decided to build the next iteration of the experiment, on the top of the code already built. So the incremental delivery based on the knowledge we've gathered from a past is, at least for me, a fascinating example how to exactly ship faster. Because of building something completely new, you could change the experiment, just a few changes of the UI or of the flow, and then you can test it again and get a much faster outcomes. Instead of building the new experiments for a few sprints, you could do the new increment based on the AI outcomes in a sprint or two.
Okay, so last question. If you have any other questions, you can pretty sure catch our panelists after the meeting. Yeah, so please.
Yeah, hi. So I have a question for Tomasz. Yeah, so I would like to ask, I see probably the fundamental problem that we are trying to shape AI for our current mindset, business processes, teams, organization, etc. Isn't better to shape our companies, organization, teams, etc. for working with AI? Yeah, we have probably a good, powerful tool, that probably could influence the outcome, let's say, isn't better to think in another way, to not try to fit AI, but try to fit ourselves and companies, etc. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my impression is quite similar, that we are using the old measures in order to deal with the new problems. Right? If you take the nature of AI and the software development in those times, that we are handling with the problem of non-deterministic way of producing the code, that's completely new problem we have never had before, right? I don't have the really clear answer on that. I think it's inevitable that we're gonna rebuild ground up all our business process sooner or later. This gonna happen, and moreover, I think new companies will appear for sure, which do not have this how do you say weight of old processes which are there, right?
So there will be new problems to solve, but more opportunities to catch.
It's definitely not the end of the process.
Not end of the history. Okay, so thank you very much. Big applause for our panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, shall we vote?
Okay, yeah. So the best questions would get present.
Hmm.
4.
Maybe whoever asked the question, please stand up so it will be easier to
Yeah, it'll be
remember.
easier.
It will be a contest.
If you want to participate in the lottery.
So every single person, we have 4 prizes.
Cesare, you asked some
No,
questions
sorry.
too.
Everyone should select one.
All right.
Yeah, Tomasz.
I will go with the first question. I don't remember your name. Misael. Yeah?
Yay.
I like the Alex one. Yeah, Alexi, Alex. Yeah, yeah, Alexi.
All right. So I'll go with the gentleman in the back.
Yay.
Okay, and I will go with gentleman at the end. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah, big applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you all.
Beautiful. Before you disperse completely, one thing. So thank you very much again. It was a pleasure, and oh, I wish I could participate in this panel. But first thing first, we have pizza on the kitchen over there, and there's some drinks to get right here in this kitchen. But the pizza is over there. Yes. There was an eclipse. Is it on the screen? Okay, whoever had that, like, how do we do that? I don't know. This is beyond my capabilities. But yes, please come back. Come back in 2015. That's the 2015. It's the time we resume.
Just for an update, it's past the eclipse, so we cannot. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's too late.
Live
song, a very famous song. So
It's a tune by Johnny Cage, and it's called 4:33.
just do it. Just do it. I don't know why he is doing this, but I guess we'll see what happens. This is the most uncomfortable I've been on stage in a very long time. Can you perform like a short version? Getting pretty hot in here. Love this part. Yep. There it is. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was John Cage 433. Exactly. Repeated according to the notes. Thank you very much.
But don't end the hype here because we're finally welcoming our next speaker, Marcin. So give again for MDMA. Yes, one more round of applause for MDMA, please. Thank you, thank you. And it is yours.
That's it. Great. Can you hear me? Great. So thank you for today. It's always a pleasure to. Told you. My mic is turned off, so sorry for that. And thank you for the performance. It's a relief, you know. My silence wouldn't be that great. All right. So again, thank you for having me today. Hopefully, I won't waste your time here. Yeah, thank you. Nothing's wrong here. So hopefully, I won't waste your time, and you will find anything interesting for yourself or for application that you are building or you. It's okay? Now you can hear me? Yeah, that's great. That you build or you will build in the near future. So, my name is Marcin Sadowski. I'm co-founder of Mobile Reality, our software agency, and recently the creator of MDMA, our open source. So today I'm going to talk mainly related to LLMs, interfaces, and of course, MDMA. MDMA, in this case at least, it's not a drug. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. But Markdown with mounted application. This is how you can decode this acronym. Okay, so I guess we can begin. So nowadays, all of us probably build application with AI, right? Personally, I use it heavily on my daily basis development. In Mobile Reality, we use it as well. And in Mobile Reality, we have developed recently several applications that are connected to LLMs. We improve the results with RAGs. We optimize prompts to cost less. We optimize prompts to match defined criteria set by clients. And every time when we build such an application, we face three main issues and one non-obvious. So these issues are speed, so how long the user needs to wait for the response from LLM provider. The next is the cost, of course, so how much client is billed for each request by the user. And the next is the quality, so if response from LLM is somehow valuable for us. And the last non-obvious is format. So you can ask why the format is non-obvious issue. Well, LLMs can produce mainly text, so tokens, right? And it's widely supported, I guess, since 2023 by OpenAI that we can ask for structured format. And basically, that should probably solve our problems. But can we do it every time? I will be able to answer this question at the end of the presentation. So listen closely. Now, I would like to think about an example that we would like to build a chat application, for instance. So we would like to interact with the AI for some reason, right? So we are building this application, and if we are talking about a simple conversation, let's say that we would like to talk with AI about the weather, then yeah, simple prompt will be enough here. However, now, I guess we would like to have something more complex. So we would like to have tool calls, automated searches, custom logic, things like that, right? And if you would like to put everything, I mean, put this whole logic into one single massive prompt, it will probably not work. It won't probably work. So as a true software developer, we would like to craft everything correctly, right? So we think about the separation, we think about the test, dependencies, proper architecture, and yeah, that's it. And at the end, we are handling interfaces. So at the first glance, it should be kind of straightforward, right? As I said, structured output, and let's go. But Probably it will work, but sometimes we'll notice some edge cases, right? So JSON is malformed, the information that we needed is under wrong key, or maybe key is invalid, something like that. And these cases are, of course, edge cases and can be handled. And nothing's wrong about it. But can it be handled every time? Yeah, that's the interesting question. So what is my main problem here with these JSON formats or HTML formats? On May this year, I noticed this funny post on X where Arthur put two statements. So basically that HTML is a great output format for LLMs because you can play with it. And the second thing, like less important, is that it's used in the cloud code. So when I'm reading this post, we can see a lot of statements related to that HTMLs can be used in various scenarios, and agents can generate it on the fly, interact with it. We can use it for our visual preference, and that's great. Everything works like without any issues. And as a developer, I can make a conclusion that HTML should be a kind of a go-to format when it comes to output format, right? But there was a catch. Like I said, there was a two statements that it's in the cloud code and basically in cloud applications. In cloud code, most of us, or maybe some of us, are using it by subsidized subscription, right? And yes, Opus 5 will probably generate beautiful HTML for me. However, I don't want to know how many tokens it spent to make it this beautiful HTML. And the second thing is that definitely I don't want to expose this limitless HTML generation to the user, where, for instance, in the application of our clients, where traffic is handled in thousands, right? Well, it will be a surprise in the bill, right? So that's why during our multiple tests in mobile reality, we find out that Markdown format, it's not only a great format for playing around the agent workflows, setting up our development experience with the agents, but also is a kind of great format for the output. Because one thing is that the LLMs are kind of surprisingly well when it comes to generation of Markdown format. It's really small amount of issues with Markdowns. The second thing is that the Markdown format is currently, it renders on our advantage. What I mean by that is that when it comes to HTML or JSON, basically when structure is broken, we face probably an error, right? And that's great, right? Because these formats are designed to be in proper structure. And that's kind of a problem for us when it comes to LLMs, because LLMs are not deterministic. We need to handle it with some kind of probability. And when it comes to Markdown formatting, then we basically, when something failed in the Markdown, then we'll have the text, basically unformatted text, that it's kind of readable for us as a human with some, of course, artifacts, but still, it's a text. And also, we don't see any issues with the rendering stuff, right? So this is a kind of advantage. It's a kind of flexibility that we need when it comes to handling generation from LLMs. Right. And that's why we have created MDMA. So this is the kind of example, of course, how MDMA is basically structured in the Markdown file. It's basic code blocks and MDMA prefix. And basically, this is the example structure of it and rendered stuff. That's it. So MDMA comes with 5 core packages. First of all is MDMA parser. It's basically the remark plugin that takes the Markdown, parse it, and as a note in the output, we have a tree, syntax tree, where one of these elements is, of course, Markdown elements, ordinary Markdown elements, but the other is MDMA element that we can play with. The next is renderer. So that's the most straightforward package as it could be. So it just takes the tree and render the blocks. And one of these blocks is, of course, MDMA block. And we support currently 3 renderers: React, Vue, and React Native. Next is the runtime. So basically everything what happens after rendering. So states and bindings of components, some protection of sensitive data, like maybe input with passwords, and of course checking if states in the correct state, things like that. Next is the validator. And this is the reference of where I was talking about the flexibility. We have created our own validator to check if MDMA is somehow correct. And of course, it comes with the rules, which you can enable or disable. So validator takes MDMA block, checks, do all of these checks, and tell us if it's correct or not. If it's not, we have a couple of auto fixes strategies, so it's being fixed on the fly. And if issue with rendered MDMA element is not obvious, because LLM just provide this kind of issue that cannot be solved by deterministic algorithm, the error is passed to the fixer prompt, which is a part of the last core pack, which is the main one. It's a prompt pack. And in the prompt pack, we basically have 2 prompts, MDMA author and fixer MDMA. And MDMA author comes with 36 variants optimized for the most popular providers. And of course, these variants are optimized to be almost 100% sure that you will get what you need in terms of generative UI. And also they are optimized, these variants are optimized to be the smallest as possible, right? To be, of course, efficient from the speed perspective and from the cost perspective. And the second prompt that I have mentioned is the fixer prompt. So if you pass some errors to the fixer prompt, right, so it can be repaired by the LLM in some kind of loop. So we will have, like, in 2-3 turns fixed MDMA. And that's it. Of course, that were 5 packages, and that's the core. But in the full ecosystem includes couple of more. The other ones are related to more development, some kind of CLI that you can, create your own prompt that will play with MDMA, or some kind of integration. For instance, AGUI. That's the protocol designed for the agent-to-agent communication when you would like to have some kind of human-in-the-loop rule, right? So you will need to generate something, right? So this is the place where you can use MDMA for interfaces. Okay, and here is the sample example of MDMA. As I said, it's as simple as it is. So Markdown format, we have Markdown formatting, some headings, paragraphs, and of course, MDMA as a type of form. And next, briefly, of course, I would like to show you what components are supported in MDMA. So we support forms, straightforward. Buttons, for instance, if you would like to generate some buttons in the chat. Task lists, also straightforward. Table, if you would like to generate some data that needs to be sortable. Callout, of course, if you would like to inform user about more specific that should be visible than ordinary text. Approval gate, when, of course, more people than one works in the one thread of conversation, and one user has higher permission than others, and they need to have some kind of approval gate to proceed with the agent in the thread. Next is the webhook. So if third party is being called by the agent and you would like to show some user interface to the user. Charts, useful for reports, numbering data, comparisons. Thinking component, if you would like to expose thinking process to the user in the chat. And the last is custom. So if you find, or if you don't find that any suitable for you in terms of standard components, you can use custom one, where you can just simply pass data through props and use action to attach specific function on the elements that you would like to generate. And basically, as an example, I have just generated 3D graph that on click I'm able to see. I'm not sure if it's visible, but yeah, some kind of number, but just an example. So before we dive into the demo, I would like to show you this benchmark, because I have created that 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to track a couple of things: output tokens, size of prompts, failure counts, and every time rate between other formats available on the web when compared used in the, with the other models. So I have tested MDMA, our OpenUI, JSON render, and A2UI with models like Opus 5, mid one, GPT 5.6 Terra, and the small one, really small, and open weight, Gemma 4, 26 billion with active 4 billion, so it's a mixture of experts. And as you can see in the chart, of course, a couple things it's worth mentioning is that this benchmark can be biased, right? I have created it, so it's nothing wrong about it. I'm happy to see MDMA being benchmarked in other formats. But yeah, this is a kind of valid benchmark. And the other thing is it can be invalid in the next 2 weeks, because these formats are being developed constantly. Teams are working on their solutions, so basically they can improve it all the time. And the last.
What's the y-axis? What does it show? Like, what's this number?
The percentage.
Of what?
Of success rate. There's basically. I will explain in a few seconds. I just forgot what I was about to say, but that's fine. But nevertheless, what I wanted to show you with this statistic, the last thing what I wanted to mention is that I'm showing you only one statistic. You can access the full benchmark on the right side of the screen. There are more statistics, and why I wanted to show you this statistics is because this statistics shows the cycle that I wanted to LM provide me 5 different component scenarios for five different component scenarios in the 5 times in a row, repeated 20 times, and that's why we have a number like 94. It's the success rate, and as you can see, the OpenUI format is a kind of it's similar. There is a similar approach that what we are doing in MDMA. I found the OpenUI like 1 month ago and was kind of surprised. It's kind of also 1-year-old library. But what I wanted to point out basically is that if you see the smallest, so we have the Gemma 4, basically MDMA is scored like very well. But like I say, OpenUI, like I said, OpenUI is also a good approach of doing these things. And I guess after custom adjustments, you will be able to end up with higher scoring even for OpenUI. But that wasn't the point of this benchmark. And the other thing, so the answer for the question, if there's no limit of prompt optimization, right? Because that was the first question of this presentation. You see there is this format of A2UI. That's the format, I guess, from the Google. And that's a kind of complex format. It comes with the system prompt that counts like 60,000 of tokens as an initial prompt. And it can be extended to the 50,000 of tokens. And even though I have extended it to the maximum, the scoring on the smallest model didn't change, basically. It was roughly changed by, I don't know, 1 point of success rate. And that's the reason why proper format, some formats can be optimized in a way, and the other there is a wall for the smallest models that they cannot achieve. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. And of course, if in any other formats, there's also some kind of fixer loop that can be used. But yeah, still, success rate of the initial generations is the most important thing, I guess, from my experience, I guess, to have reliable solution. Sorry. Okay, So here I'm going to show you a demo how we can play with MDMA. What's the point of this generative UI at all? You can, of course, access it on your own by scanning this QR code. Let me just switch quickly to the demo. And here is a kind of simple insurance claim demo. What I mean by that, when you go to the bank institution, basically what you will find, or any other institution, when you would like to resolve your case, probably you will end up some stepper form, right? We love stepper forms. I love it, hate it. And the case with this love is about that sometimes I don't understand the input. Sometimes I don't understand what the bank really needs from me, or if my case is, it's valid for this form, for instance. And what we can do with MDMA, we can, suggest other approach. So where we have the chat conversation, but on the right side, we have some interface that we can interact with. And let me just play the demo. Hopefully it will work. It will be run through Gemini 2. Flash. It's really a small model, at the cheap one, I guess still supported on the open router. And you will see in the automated way. And after that, I will be able to show you manually what I mean by playing with agent and interfaces. So let's go. Okay, so it was kind of fast, right? Hopefully you were able to see something, but let me just show you step by step. Basically, what we can see here is the automated process of receiving some information by agent without accessing agent to our information, basically. What you can see here is a kind of simple implementation where we are interacting with the form as a user, where the data from the forms or other elements are being saved, is being saved to our database. And basically, here we can see that every step was handled with respect, without any issues. And yeah, this is how it was from the automated way. Let me just clear it. And maybe in terms of how basically it's changed the flow, let me just do it manually. So let's say I'm hi, okay. There's the initial, of course, instruction, the system prompt that basically there's the information, right, that I should provide as a user. But let's say that I'm surprised that I even encountered this form. So let's say, what's that, right? And this is a kind of very short information. That's the reason, because it's the Gemini 2.5 Flash, and there's no any adjustments in the system prompt. But let's say that I don't understand what it's all about. So let me just put another question. Why do you need it? And I hope that you can see it. So yeah, the agent's trying to resolve our questions while form is not being yet fulfilled. So let me just put the data. Really, it's not validated, so I can put anything right now. It's just the case of the front end or the back end side. So let me just submit. Okay, and after submission, we can see the other step. And here is the simple question: what happened? So let's say I don't know what kind of length I need to provide of the description. So could you provide any example? Of course, yeah, sure, thank you. And as you can see, here is some kind of dummy data, right? However, still, as we are working with agents, we can instruct the system prompt to provide more information in a way that we need for our clients, and so on. And also, of course, we are talking about the obvious inputs. However, maybe there will be a case where we are interacting with the forms where, in stepper forms, it's being resolved by some kind of question marks, hover tooltips, something like that. Now, agent can tell us what it's all about and explain the explain it step by step while being still limited to the template. It's not, the agent can't see the information in the form because still we are handling a template. Okay, and here, of course, it's a bank account details. So let's say that, I don't know, I'm that young that I do not know, and the first time I don't know what IBAN is. So yeah, it gave me the more detailed explanation of this field. So again, let's just put it any value here. Like I said, it's not validated. And we have the last step of this demo. And is it done? Yeah, that's done. So basically, as we could see, the information is tracked. The conversation with the user is basically adjusted to the user. So it's not that stepper needs to resolve some company things, that now the feeling is that user is being handled with the care, and LM just can guide user on their for them, right? So yeah, this is how we can play with MDMA, implement it. So let me just get back to the demo here, and yeah, basically thank you for your time, and looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
What's the use case for generated UI? I mean, when you generate it on the fly, depending on the user case.
Okay, sure. The use case.
Yes.
So that what I have shown you is the one of the use case. Of course, maybe you would like to have some kind of, I don't know, fluid experience for the user. For instance, in my imagination, when I think about the future, I think that most of companies, most of businesses will be more related to some kind of chat experience, because how you would like to interact with agent like without a chat, for instance, right? We need to have some kind of sensitive data that needs to be stored somewhere, and it cannot be given by for instance by speaking of it, right? So the first thing is that the use case of generative UI is basically when you have a chat, you are kind of limited to text, right? So first thing is, of course, you will need some interfaces. That's the first step. And when you would like to show something, for instance, like I shown you the graphs, right? Let's say that you would like to present some numeric data in some way, and you do not know when user might need it. So in that case, of course, you can do some kind of if statements, I don't know, do some kind of weird stuff around the chat to provide this kind of experience. However, if agent will need to do some kind of tool calling where you have coded all of it, maybe okay, you will provide this chat, but what if user will have some questions to it, or maybe they will need to change it for their demand because I don't know, I don't understand this graph, make it different or something like that. So in this case, you're basically trying to provide this experience of changing visual things to the user. And this is where you can use generative UI, basically.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the privacy aspect of it because it looks like the model doesn't see the answers. So obviously we store those answers somewhere, but we can distinguish like between sensitive data and discussion of the process. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, how does the chat know, or how does the model know when a user hasn't interacted with it? So is there a callback mechanism or something?
Yeah, basically there are kind of rules that needs to be set up still, right? So basically there's a couple of layers. It depends of how would you like to build it, because it can be done in like different types of implementation. However, in the most common way, as now we have agents, right? So and we have tool calls. basically what you can do around the being sure that agent provide specific element in the specific moment is just to make some kind of prompt optimization, agentic implementation, and basically you don't in the most common scenarios. Then nothing more is needed currently for the current models.
Then perhaps you can tell us what was your favorite question out of the two.
If you can.
We can have time. Okay, let's do it. Can't be worse than 4 minutes of silence.
Okay, have you benchmarked how the generation of plain HTML would work with different models?
Yeah, I did, and this is the part of this benchmark that I have shown you. I mean, I know that there was a JSON. However, the problem is it's really hard to measure. That's the one thing, and the second thing is that you have to experience it, because when you try to use models, different ones, not only the fronter ones, but I don't know, let's say like here we have Gemma 4, or maybe you will use Nemotron, or maybe you will use Quen. You will quickly see that you can't push this model to do specific structure all the time. And that's the case also for the Gemma here. I'm showing this statistic because maybe it happens to have that I had it, right, once a time, but maybe sometimes it can be just a little bit lower. The thing is that if you do this kind of fixer loop, for instance, when you do it for the JSON or for the maybe some other specific formats like HTMLs, you might see the weird behavior that you are the echo of in the smallest model. So you will provide the invalid structure, and you will ask, hey, could you fix it for me? And at the output, you will get back with the still invalid. And that's the real issue for the smallest model, that you cannot push it like to the, I don't know, to the really frontal level of behaving, because the model is too small. That's why when it comes to the complex structure, because HTML and JSONs needs to have like very specific format with, of course, I don't know, some camel cases, things like that, right? And the more elements you add to these formats, to these outputs formats, the more complex it gets, and the more struggle you will find in the smaller model. And with MDMA, it's kind of simple and basically written in per language. That's the advantage of it.
And also the security, because here you don't have a JavaScript to embed, for instance.
Yes. I mean, yes or no. You have to render the markdown, or maybe you can pass it without any markdown formatting still. But yeah, it can be set that way.
No, I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry, but we are terribly over time, and we have one more talk to finish it up. So please, before you leave, after the final question, what was your favorite question?
Okay, the gentleman over there.
Okay, of course. Right. So good news, you are getting free tickets to a Tech Race Summit. That is only if you're in Warsaw on September 10th. Okay, if you're not, then we'll transfer a ticket to someone else. It's fine, no pressure. But
yes, unfortunately, it's the ending of my vacation. It's fine, of course.
all right, we'll give it, double it, and give it to the next person. Right, give a hand to Marcin once again.
Thank you.
And I would like to invite our next speaker, Dmitry, on stage. So yeah, do what? Yes. Would you like a JetBrains license instead? I'm sorry, gentlemen, before you leave, would you like a JetBrains license instead of... Okay. Okay. You're the person who has everything. Right. And
let's check my microphone. Do you hear me well?
No, absolutely not. Can we get a sound of the gentleman?
Let's try again.
Ooh.
Okay, so you hear me.
Beautiful. Are you have
Yeah,
the
for
slides
sure.
on the screen?
Yeah, give me a second.
Ooh,
All right.
Beautiful. Right.
Hello everyone, my name is Dmitry Moiseev, and today I'm going to show you a presentation about not AI, not even web, but I will give you an introduction to a new platform that you probably never visit or tried before. It's called Apple News. And it's not a surprise since you doesn't hear about it, since it's only available in 4 countries. It's UK, US, Canada, and Australia. But inside of these 4 countries, they have around 150 million of users that your product could reach to. So, a bit of context before I move on. My team where I work, we primarily worked on Todoom. Todoom is a platform built by Netflix, and Netflix publish everything around the shows, for example, announcement, rankings. We host virtual events, even real events, and games as well. Everything on this platform, Todoom. And we have around 23 to 25 million visitors per month. So it's a kind of high traffic platform. And while being on site, and we have brainstorms with a product team to understand what is the new ways to get new audience. And we discover that Apple News could be an option for that. So what is Apple News? Apple News, it's pre-installed application on every Apple device, for example, iPhone or your macOS, and you can get to it. Unfortunately, not in this region where we live right now. And the main benefit that user gets, he can check all his subscriptions and recommendations inside this app. And the publishers, they send structured JSONs that I'm going to cover next in a specific Apple News format. And because of that, every articles, it's pleasant to look, it's have similar aesthetics, and it's very performant because of how it works underneath. There is no JavaScript, of course. There is no ads. There is no third-party trackers. And because of native US OS rendering, it's very fast since it's used, since it's trained directly on GPU. And for a publisher, the main pros, I would say, it's the audience, amount of audience, and the big piece of this audience is people with high income, middle and high income that could be interested in your products, and you can get some pros from it. Okay, and unlike RSS feed, you still control how your article looks, since you have a set of components and rules that I'm going to cover briefly next. So you still can have a product feel of your product. For example, it's what Netflix was interested in. We don't want just a generic post. We want a content that would be look like it's produced by Netflix. All right. And main downside of that is that you can publish your personal blog post or your personal sites. It's only available for real productions, and Apple approve it manually every new channel. So it can be time consuming, and I will briefly explain by the end how it works for Netflix. For developer setup, I would be very brief. All you need to do to start is just to download Apple News Preview. It's a macOS application. As you can see in the bottom, it's an interface where you can just drag and drop article JSON and play in a simulator when you can launch iPad or iPhone and work here. If you want to publish something to test preview environment, you're going to need to buy a developer subscriptions that cost around $100 per year. Then I'm going to show you how Apple News format looks. Basically, it's just JSON with top level of configuration. And we have 4 main configs. We have components, we have component text styles, component styles, and component layouts. And then you can reference in your components to all of this 4 properties that I just explained. So nothing special here, but one important note that Apple is very strict about their formats that they have. And I'm talking specifically about role. So they have around 50 roles, and you can invent your own. So for example, in a browser, you can use div for everything and implement whenever you want, but not in case of Apple. There is a strict rules what you can use and how you can use it. There is no things like div that can be anything. But on the other side of that, it's like a cool pros that if you use it correctly, it's gonna give you a great behavior out of the box. For example, galleries or swipeable components, and give you a great Apple experience. And you don't need to implement anything on your own. You just need a proper configuration. Then I add this quote just to give you a mood how it all works. So keep in mind that newspaper is the best analogy to keep in mind while developing Apple News specific article. Then I'm going to cover how it works, how the layout works. As you can see, it's highly inspired by traditional newspaper. By default, you have 20 columns when you can just, by 2 numbers, you just declare when it started, when it finished. And yeah, there is no flag box, there is no pixels, or there is no grids and any other CSS rules. Everything is super simple, just columns. And these columns are intent. For example, it can wrap into different layouts when you change your device. For example, you don't need to implement even mobile version most of the time, since it works pretty great by adaptive layout, so it can be adapted to different layout. Another interesting thing is that they don't use pixels, and it's not a big surprise, since pixels belong to the exact screen, and we want to represent the content of it. So we don't know on which device the user going to open it. So they only have points. It's an abstract number that you can use, or you can also use, for example, some part of the screen like we used in CSS VH and or part of viewport. So you can choose from. That's it. So no pixels here. Styling. Styling is a very basic mechanism here. There is no selectors. There is no specificity that you can override like in CSS. There is no cascade. There is no states like hovering, active, and all of it. It's very basic. It's like pure JSON. There is also no design tokens, no variables. It's bare bone minimal. And but this principle I'm going to keep you in mind that you not write this format directly. You generate it by your code. So otherwise it would be a huge issue. For example, if you have your team design tokens, and of course you want to use it in on all pages identically. So I'm going to show you how the real pipeline in production could look like if you need a custom implementation. Conditions. It's also possible as that you can modify, for example, you can modify the coloring, depends on team, you can modify layouts. Basically, you can do everything in a conditionals. One important thing to know that it would override all previous conditions, so it doesn't have any inheritance here. And I have an example here with dark theme support, but actually you don't even need this one for most of the cases, since Apple carried for you automatically by checking your background, and it can invert all of your colors that you provide for light theme. It would be also automatically give you a dark theme, so it could be easy in case if you don't care about product teaming. For example, at Netflix, it was not the case, since they have a very high bar about how the content look and what we deliver to the user. Not sure I can enable this demo. Can I? Nope, sorry. I have a GIF here. Oh, okay, it works. So basically, I create a fake article, put some of my photos from my last trip, and just show you a demo. So on the left, I have a web version. On the right, I have Apple News version. Both have similar backend. And the next slide, I'm going to show you how the pipeline is working. And it's very similar to what we have in the production, but of course, it's pretty simplified. So first of all, you need to fetch your data by REST or GraphQL of your content. Then each block of your content should be mapped into, you map your content into specific blocks, and there your blocks would be mapped to NF components that Apple provides to you. In Netflix, the main struggle that we had it's with rich text, since we have a custom CMS where editors work in this rich text, and we have a lot of custom components that we built for rich text using CK editor, and we have a lot of plugins on top of that, and it was pretty difficult to replace everything in a Apple News format. So if you have some custom components inside rich text, it can be difficult to parse all of this tree into Apple specific format. And then when you actually have all of that components that you create, then you need to assemble it. And in that step, at Netflix specifically, we have a lot of optimization. We have custom variables that we use everywhere. We have inheritance that we missed, and the duplication of styles. So your output of article JSON would be clean without any unneeded information. So that's how production pipeline is look for custom articles. Because if you are a lucky one and maybe use WordPress, and then you have just some plugins that you can install and get your Apple News version maybe in one day. But in our case, it was much more complicated and take much more time. And it's purely depends on how you store your data and how complex is your data tree. When you're talking about publishing, Apple provides you an API where everything is pretty simple. You can integrate into your own pipeline. Basically, how it works, Apple store it as an object on their side and give you an ID. And by the ID, you can just modify it. And think about it as Apple just have a database, and you have basic CRUD operations that you can perform. And most important, what you can get here is when you publish it, it's better not to change it, since they have a cache, and cache can be pretty long time of period when it's getting updated. For example, you get a mistake in production, you fix it, you even call the API, but because of caches, it can be difficult to wait until it would be delivered to all clients. So they have a preview environment where all editors work in preview first, and when they 100% sure they're ready, they move it to, they publish the article. When the article is published, you have an analytics. Main downside that you can't integrate your API with it or fetch it for your own needs into your own pipeline. All you have is analytics that Apple provide to you, and it's aggregated. It's anonymous, so you have pretty rough data. You can use it for it gives you rough estimates how good you perform, but nothing special. And for user, of course, it's good since it gives him a good privacy, and they can be sure that they are not tracked. Okay, what's the cost? Again, as I said before, the cost of integration Apple News, it highly depends on your data structure and how much complicated is your data. If it's a WordPress, it will be easy, maybe 1 day of working. In our case, starting from the beginning, when we start discussing it with product team until production, it takes 5 months. It's a long period, but a lot of weeks were in a communication with Apple. When we have some agreements, then we have security checks. We have lawyers who check how the content would be shown. Then we have some issues with video publishing and many other issues, since Apple, when you publish to Apple, they don't want a user to go out of Apple. And our main goal was to user go to Apple, but he discovered to Doom and he goes to our site and then browse it and get integrated into our site. So it was a conflict of interests, but overall we find some good middle ground how it should work. All right, so my advice, should you go there and integrate it or not? It simply depends of complexity that you have, but probably you should start with MVP, start with minimal, go there, and after you get first statistics, you can understand should you invest more time or not, since maybe all of that effort doesn't give you enough process. All right, so that's basically it. I am done with my presentation. I have a QR code with all code samples. You can find examples here and check it on your own, since there is not a lot of information about Apple News format. For example, when you're working with AI, Claude doesn't know how to write good Apple News format. It's a big issue. For example, we highly rely on AI in our work daily basis, and I would say 90% of code around that, like all the services that we write in Java, they're generated by AI. But when it comes to writing good ANF, Apple News format, it's simply by hand and try and error. It's like it's very difficult to find some good information how to write a good ANF. But after some time, for example, when your code base is growing and when you have a good references, then Claude would catch up with that and work better. But you need very good examples. Otherwise, it's a bit useful for now, since there is not a lot of information in public space and nobody talks about it. So that's why here I want to just show you this technology, that something exists, not only the web, and maybe it would be useful for some UI engineers on product who are going to integrate it. So that's basically it. Thank you for your attention. Here is my contacts. If someone wants to reach me, please add me to LinkedIn, write me a Gmail, and I am ready to maybe ask your question if you have some. Yep, gentleman on the end.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, cool.
Thanks for presentation. I saw your to-do, very good blog post. So from my perspective, I have a client that has a big blog platform, and from your point of view, what is the biggest advantage of the Apple News and what it brings to the table? I mean, why is it worth to invest in it?
First of all, it's their audience. For example, I can share you some insights from at least specific Netflix fan. Most of the users are like almost 70% are middle-aged men and even more adults. So as you can understand, it's audience from United States, from Canada, in the middle age who has money, so potentially they can get into your product and buy something, or it's probably at least from my perspective is the best part is premium audience that can reach to you.
So in Poland, I can post something there, or I
No,
have to
it's not possible.
VPN.
In Poland, you mean if you have some product in Poland? I'm not sure. I guess Apple wouldn't approve it, since they approve manually every new channel, and I guess I'm not sure, but looks like it's only possible from these 4 countries. Yep. Next question.
How can a publisher get approved by Apple? Is this process publicly documented, or you need to contact Apple?
From Netflix experience, it's you contact directly the person who is responsible for acquisition of new clients, and all of the communication mostly happens in an email.
So it's mostly for larger clients, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Next question.
Hey. You mentioned that Apple restricts leaving boundaries of this Apple infrastructure and this channel, right? And you mentioned that you found the way to negotiate this moment with Apple. And what was the exact way? How do
I can give you a specific example what we had and how we negotiated. For example, when you have a image banner in your article, and if it's article not published in Apple, you can click and go to redirect to someone else. So, for example, it's a restriction. For example, you have a blog post, you have a image banner, and from your perspective, you want user to click in. For example, we can post like some announcement or something like call to action, right? So user should click it and go to our site and get something done. If this link that clickable where user should go is not published in Apple, it's not possible. You can add any behavior to that. So the actual fix to it, it may sound strange, but it just banner wouldn't be clickable, but at least on a below the big banner, you can add some custom button that would work. So for example, like check it here. So it would be smaller, of course, since it's not possible to put any big clickable banner, but yeah, it's still possible to go outside of Apple, and it's one of the specific, for example, middle grounds that we found how we can work with it. Since we don't want to leave user only in Apple News ecosystem, we want to bring him into Todo. So, for example, it's one of the things, but of course, there's many more specifically to videos. They have very strict rules about how videos, which format they should have, and most important, all of the videos should have subtitles. And if your video doesn't have subtitles, they can't post it. So yeah, so it's some limitations. Any other questions? Yep.
Just wondering, the articles that you're publishing on Apple News, are you publishing them in other places as well, or are they written specifically for Apple News?
No, in Todo we have a team of editors who primarily write articles for our Todo. They have custom CMS that we build for them when they edit it in a visual manner, like Wix or something like that. So they write an article for Todo, and then we just have a separated pipeline to publish it, not only for Todo, but also to Apple News. So it's published in the 2 places simultaneously.
All right.
Cool.
With that in mind, did you perhaps have a third question?
Probably about restrictions.
Restrictions?
Yes, it's yes, correct.
Would you like to have a conference ticket, perhaps? Okay, now we have our winner, and a round of applause, please. Beautiful. All right, with that in mind, we are rapidly approaching the end of our meetup, but we have like a small, let's call it a lightning talk, a lightning announcement from a fellow community member here. I'll give you a microphone. In the meantime, I will type the URL in.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Chris. How many people here heard about Effect library? Yes, we have some. Yes, so for those who didn't heard the name before, it's a library that makes writing production-ready TypeScript easy. And I don't have time, unfortunately, to do the proper lightning talk, but or maybe I do. I don't know. Okay.
I'm sorry,
No.
not really.
Okay, but anyway, the news is that I'm running a Effect Warsaw Meetup next month. It's gonna happen middle of September. I'm just gonna show you the QR code, and basically you can use this QR code to subscribe to this meetup if you're into writing production ready TypeScript. And if you never heard about Effect, it looks like this. It's awesome, but I don't have time to discuss this further. But trust me, it's a library that's gonna change the way you write TypeScript for better. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I love Effect. It sounds fun.
And this meetup is going to be beginner friendly.
Beginner friendly meetup. That's important. For sure. Right. So, in the meantime, I thank everyone who is here till the very end. And if you could please just scan this QR code and let us know how we did so we could iterate and improve upon our processes and how we host these meetups. And any help would be much appreciated. I enjoyed the talks today, and Apple News format is fun, and I wonder if only there was a format for describing the news feed universally. Guess what? It's called RSS. We had it in the 90s, and it still exists. I actually have flashbacks from Google AMP during this talk, but okay, it's fine. Right. No, don't clap. Right, so let's talk about the next meetup while we're here. We'll have another discussion panel. That's not right? not right? Okay. So name is wrong, okay. The photo is right. Okay, I deeply apologize. I made these slides over here, so the last person's name is wrong. It's Igor, yes. I'm so sorry. But the talk's going to be fun. It's module federation and games. So looking forward for that one. We'll have Kacper talking about payload CMS. I think Kacper was he's still here, and he's on a payload CMS team. So yeah, it's a good, nice insights from the inside. And a discussion panel, of course. And right. With that in mind, if you scan this, you'll get a chance to get our ticket to the next meetup with the discount as per usual. So if you're interested, scan this. I wait a little bit. It's fine. You don't have to, but if you want to, please do. Right? Or you can just buy it last minute when it's the most expensive. That's what I usually do. Same with plane tickets and conference tickets. Right. But if you're rich, you can afford this, which is a yearly ticket to WarsawJS. And that's going to grant you a whole 12 meetups worth of meetups. So you will save money, of course, yes. And that's going to help us to do better financial planning. And I'm not involved with that. I'm not good with numbers, but it is tax deductible, yes. And you can beg your employer to pay for it as well, which is fun. Yes. So with that in mind, I guess I say thanks all of you for coming. And a small round of applause for yourself for staying to the end. Now, remember, you can still harass some of the speakers who are here. We'll have some time for networking. And I guess I invite everyone on stage to take a picture. Thanks.